Right, guys. So we are live. I appreciate everybody kind of being with us. I think that on this channel, I like kind of reacting to these playoff games. I think that the reaction to the playoff game is even more like uplasting content. A couple of times I'll preview some NFL games. But today I'm going to also talk about the transfer portal. And we got a massive story right now in the transfer portal. And it's official that Carson Beck has withdrawn his name from Georgia, and he's going to be going down to Miami to be a quarterback for Mario Cristobal on this Miami Hurricanes team. Now Miami, I know that Carson Beck hurt his UCL, his elbow. Miami right now is going to be put on the national spotlight again with Carson Beck. And people are now expecting Carson Beck to put up similar statistics to Cam Ward. And I kind of caution that a little bit. I'm worried. I think that Restrepo's going to the league. I'm not sure about the weapons that Miami has. And I saw a pretty good player in Tyler Van Dyke leave Miami and throw a lot of interceptions under the Shannon Dawson offense. So I'm not sure that from a scheme fit perspective, what Cam Ward did at Miami, he held up that whole program. He held up that defense. He held up a lot of things for Miami. And unless Miami gets it really right at defensive coordinator, I don't really see Miami. And now I might have to look at their schedule, but I don't see Miami winning the ACC. I don't see Carson Beck being a huge impact player. I can see this transfer not even working out that much for Carson Beck. If I were Carson Beck, what would I have done? I would have maybe even thought about, ironically, going to like an Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin and the wide receivers that you're going to have there. Instead, he goes to Miami. He's going to get a healthy paycheck, which I'm happy for Carson Beck because the guy deserves it. And this is a part of NIL, which is great for college sports, is that Carson Beck is one of the more notable names in college sports. And instead of him going to the NFL, you're going to get the storyline of Carson Beck now playing at Miami. This is going to be a massive, massive story. From a neutral perspective, this is incredibly interesting stuff, right? This is very, very interesting. So Carson Beck to me kind of has, when I watched Carson Beck, like I liked Carson Beck a lot more before the season. He has average arm strength, especially NFL-wise. Like even Jackson Dart, who I kind of view as like another Matt Corral, like I don't view Jackson Dart as being a big-time NFL quarterback. I don't even view him as a starter, really, NFL quarterback. Now, that could be wrong. He throws a decent deep ball, but he, again, is a little bit shorter, and he can't really consistently pin the ball into really tight spaces like a Jared Goff. Jared Goff's like 2 inches taller than Jackson Dart. But Carson Beck is 6'5", has a little bit of mobility to him, needs to get even stronger, and he has a decent college arm, but it's not even elite. It's not even great. And he's going to be playing on that slow Miami field. He pretty much had Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers. Those two guys made his life that much easier. Okay? So Carson Beck, to me, I don't believe he's going to be as good as Kyle McCord was at Syracuse. And I believe that Miami could even go 7-5 with Carson Beck. Their quarterbacks that are maybe even in the transfer portal, like even ironically, I mean, that's very ironic that Jaden Rashada might have a higher upside than Carson Beck, considering Beck played all year. But if I'm Georgia, like I'm not losing that much sleep because Ryan Puglisi looks like a guy for Georgia. I would be very surprised if Gunnar Stockton started and played more than 5 games for Georgia. I just think he's smaller than Ryan Puglisi. I don't think the arm strength is all that incredible. I think running the football wise, like he is very, I think that he's easy to tackle. If I were a defensive coordinator, I would like to play a Gunnar Stockton over a Ryan Puglisi would actually scare me a little bit. Ryan Puglisi seems to have a lot of arm talent. So I'm just going to say that right there about the University of Georgia. But speaking about Miami, Mario Cristobal, Shannon Dawson, okay, it's smart for Carson Beck to go here. He's getting more money. He's living in a great part of the country. He's going to have a lot of fun in Miami. However, for the University of Miami, with Mario Cristobal, I just don't think that they run that great of a college football program. Like, I think their defense is incredibly leaky. I think that their defensive personnel, like, they're out here winning recruiting battles, but they don't really know how to use the defensive personnel that they're getting. They don't really know how to build a defense. And last year against Syracuse, again, they lost. Georgia Tech, they lost. Virginia Tech, easily could have been a Virginia Tech win in a lot of ways in the second half, if not for Cam Ward's brilliance. Cal should have been a loss, so that could have been 3 losses for the University of Miami last year, 3, and very well could have been an 8-4 season in a very weak ACC. We saw the ACC; they didn't win any games in the bowl games whatsoever. So for Carson, at least he's playing easier competition than SEC ball. It just is a very interesting fit that he's going to Miami. Can Miami get the most out of Carson Beck? I'm not sure. I don't believe in the talent that much, Carson Beck. I need to see him throw the ball deeper. I need to see him air it out down the field. I think he'd be very good in a college system that is a run-first system and a play-action system. And also, I believe he's probably going to be a third-round quarterback or later in this draft process. I don't believe it's going to go swimmingly at Miami. And I also don't think that Georgia fans should absolutely lose their minds, because I don't think that he was helping out Georgia this year. He was putting the ball in harm's way. He's not that mobile of a quarterback. He's an easy quarterback to go out there and sack. So I gave Carson Beck the benefit of the doubt at a lot of points during the season, but I've soured on Carson Beck. I think that that's going to be the main premise of this video. But for Carson, like, this is smart. You get a huge sum of NIL money. With the injury guys, with the injury, scouts have said that he was probably going to be a 4th or 5th round pick with the injury. So this is really a no-brainer for Carson Beck in this predicament. And if he has a good year, like an okay year, maybe he'll be a 3rd or 2nd rounder. I'm not sure if I see the talent as being a franchise quarterback or being a quarterback that can start at the NFL level. You got to have mobility. You got to have really plus arm strength. Like, it's a very hard position to play. And that's why Jackson Dart has a little bit of mobility. He has moxie. Like, I love the kid Jackson Dart. Love his personality. Love his leadership. Okay, he's a great, great kid. And he's intense. And he's about the right stuff. But does he have the talent? Does he have the talent to go into the NFL and actually be a starter and actually be a consistent quarterback, year in and year out at the National Football League level? That's why the bar in the NFL is very hard for quarterbacks to be consistent over the course of time. And there's at times when you see it with Jackson, but I think that Dart is more inconsistent. But talking about Carson Beck, I don't think Beck is as consistently elite as a lot of these other guys in terms of processing, in terms of, in terms of throwing the football, in terms of throwing the ball hard and with velocity. These other quarterbacks like Shador, like Cam Ward, like these other quarterbacks are up there, and they're just, frankly, just better options at the quarterback position than Carson. When I look at his NFL draft grade, he flutters the football. He throws it in harm's way. He's very easy to sack. You watch that Georgia Tech game, okay, and he's not very decisive, and he's not playing quickly in this offense of Mike Bobo. He's not really driving the ball. He can't really create out of structure all that well. So, man, oh, man. I like Carson won big in college at Georgia. I'll give him credit for winning those SECs and all of that. But I believe that for Miami, they're still going to be they're still going to have problems. And I would have looked at maybe some mobile quarterbacks and even the kid at Syracuse, Ricky Collins, has like NFL tools. And there's some quarterbacks that have more NFL tools, but could Carson be decent? Maybe 7-5, maybe 8-4 with the Mario Cristobal that I see. So, if Carson Beck maybe went to a Michigan, if Carson ironically went up to Minnesota where the program is more structured, that offense, everything is more buttoned up there, you could see maybe a 9 or a 10 win season. But Miami to me just seems like the program's loose. Like it's not that accountable of a program. Things are running amok there. They don't play consistent football. And that's kind of what I see when I think about Miami football.